to the street where we began, feeling as good as love. You could, you can. Into a place where thoughts can bloom, into a room where it's 9 in the afternoon, and we know that it could be.
16th and 17th century, there was an increase of trials and executions of women across Europe for witchcraft, and it's said that there was over 100,000 women who were executed. They used torture and different methods to get women to confess to it. Even though they weren't witches, they wanted to stop being tortured. And the witch frenzy is largely attributed to religious controversy through Europe. So the rise of Protestantism in different countries. This is especially seen in the United States colonies with Puritans persecuting women for witchcraft. And new economic ideas of fighting for oneself instead of community values was also a rise in witchcraft because people were really paranoid of each other.
Theocracy is the concept or belief that a secular deity is considered the immediate authority within a society. This became present within 16th and 17th century Europe through the use of divine right monarchies, etc., etc.
The first was the child of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, but she was imprisoned because Henry VIII was not about her, because Anne Boleyn, that didn't really end that well. Her religious policy was very hands-off. Did not claim the title of supreme head of the church. Religious policy, she was very uniformity, which restored the church service of the Book of Common Prayer. The people weren't really about that because it combines Catholic and Protestant ideals, so that ultimately failed. However, everything was pretty chill after Mary, who tried to kill everybody.
Spanish Armada was in 1588, and its task was to overthrow the Protestant England led by Queen Elizabeth I. It proved to be an expensive disaster for the Spanish.
Queen, the Spanish Armada's coming.
The Spanish Armada's coming? Good. I hope King Philip knows what he's in for.
We are the Spanish Armada.
We are coming for Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
For England.
Henry IV of Navarre was a French king. He was the first French monarch from the House of Bourbon. While he was baptized as Catholic, he was risen in the Protestant faith, and he barely escaped the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre as a Huguenot. The War of Three Henries was a turning point in French warfare. Happening in 1588, Henry, Duke of Guise, attacked Paris, which was Henry III, because he wanted to become chief minister. Henry III killed Henry, Duke of Guise, and joined Henry of Navarre to crush the Catholic Holy League. This led to Catholicism as a main religion under Henry of Navarre.
Gustav Adolphus is the King of Sweden in the early 17th century. He's the founder of Sweden as a great power. He's an innovative military commander, and he made Sweden a major European power, but he was unfortunately killed in battle.
The 30 Years' War was the most devastating conflict in European history. There were 4 phases: the Bohemian, Danish, Swedish, and Franco-Swedish. It started because of religious conflict and ended as the French rising as a major military power in Europe. It ended by the Peace of Westphalia.
The Peace of Westphalia was a series of treaties that had ended the 30 Years' War and involved the Holy Roman Empire. This did not create peace or restore peace for Europe, but this did create a basis for national self-determination.
Holy Roman Empire was a multi-ethnic complex of territories in Central Europe that developed during the Middle Central Ages and continued until its dissolution in 1806. It was run by Charles V, and he was from the Habsburgs dynasty, and it was the single most area devastated by the wars of religion.
Charles V of the Holy Roman Empire was notable for his rivalry with the Valois king, King Francis I. He was also part of the Habsburg-Valois Wars. He had problems with the Eastern Front with the Ottoman Turks as well, who wanted to establish control in the Balkans, and they did this by overrunning different places. He tried to settle Lutherans with the Diet of Augsburg, but this wasn't very successful, and he also fought in the Schmaldic Wars against the Protestants.
Philip II was the king of Spain who tried to consolidate his father's rule, who was Charles V, and tried to make Spain a dominant European power both economically and politically. He used militant Catholicism to do this, and he was also known for sending the Spanish Armada to England, who was ruled by Elizabeth I at that time period. Okay, the Peace of Augsburg is a treaty between Charles V and the Schmalkaldic League, and basically it's known as the Augsburg Settlement. It is signed by Charles V, which is the Holy Roman Emperor, and it ends the violence between the Lutherans and the Catholics in Germany.
Politics emerged during the French War. This was a group that put politics over religion. They felt that no religious truth was worth civil war. Huguenots were French Calvinists. Due to religious persecution, they were forced to flee France. When the Edict of Nantes came, it allowed religious freedoms.
Yay.
A targeted group of assassinations followed by the wave of Catholic mob violence directed against the Huguenots. The massacre began in August of 1572, 2 days after the attempted assassination of the military and political leader of the Huguenots. The king ordered the killing of a group of Huguenots and ended up with casualties of about 30,000 people. The massacre marked a turning point in the French Wars of Religion because the Huguenot political movement was crippled by the loss of many of its prominent military members. The Edict of Nantes was issued in 1598 under Henry IV after he converted to Catholicism. This was created due to end religious warfare between the Huguenots and Catholics within France. Catholicism was made the official religion of France, and toleration of the Huguenots was part of the policies established, such as the right to worship, them allowed to hold political positions and have designated towns for their protection, and it was done out of necessity and not out of conviction.